trying to get this where you guys can see it. Let me zoom in just a little bit and try to keep it in the camera. That might be a little bit tough. But what we got to do is we got to create this mouthpiece. Okay, and so to do that, get out my little trusty neck knife that I always carry with me. This is one of my favorite little knives I made. Basically, you want to just cut you off a nice mouthpiece. Now you can leave it flat. You can leave it flat like that, or you can go ahead and take it on down. It don't really matter. This one here I took all the way to a point. I think this one here I'm going to leave a little bit flat. But you carve that off nice and straight so that goes in your mouth right. Now, what you want to do to carve this point here is you want to make sure that you come around this way here from this back piece, and then you come down just a little bit, because what you don't want to happen, you don't want to put your mouth on here and cover your hole. So we come around here like this. You don't cut the bark, and then you kind of measure it, and I come ahead of it just a little bit. Now, right there's where it's going to be. I've already scored the bark, so that's where it has to be. The problem is you want this mouthpiece right here to be in line with this notch you're going to put in. And what you do with the notch is you basically come at an angle and make a V. And you just make a V down in through the bark and hit the wood. You got to go down into the wood, because that's what marks it for whenever you take and get this, whenever you get the bark off, this will be your mark down in there. So basically you want something like that right there. Okay, now if you look at it and it's not in line, let's see here. If you look at it like this and it's not in line with that, you can actually just go back in here and you can shave this off to match it. But that's pretty close. I ain't going to worry about that little bit. If you wanted to, you could come in here and just kind of shave that off. And now you can see that when you have this flat, it's in line with that. So now what you want to do is you want to come back about from this notch right here, you want to come back maybe 2 inches, and you want to put a ring through your wood. Now you do not want, all you're trying to do here is cut straight through the bark. And of course I didn't make a very good ring. I'm trying to look in the camera. But you got to make sure that it goes all the way through into the wood. Paw Paw is a soft wood, so you got to be careful you don't go too far, or we probably won't have to worry about it on this piece because it's a thick enough piece. But on a smaller whistle, if you go too far, when you try to crack this loose or twist the bark off, it'll probably break in two. Now what we got to do is bruise this bark. And how you do that is you will take it and put it on your leg. Let's see, let's get it where we can see it. Put it on your leg, and of course I got to watch this knife because it has these ribs on here. These ribs will cut the bark. So I've got to position it to where we're not on our ribs, and you just sit there and tap it. You're trying to bruise that bark or loosen that bark off the tree. You don't want to have a sharp edge to where it'll cut that bark, because all we're trying to do is bruise it real good. We're not trying to damage it. Now I'd recommend not doing this across your knee or leg. I would recommend doing it across maybe a log or something like that, because it does sting your leg a little bit. But I don't have a log right here handy, so I'll just use this. And you got to make sure you get up through here where the mouthpiece is, and you want to make sure you go all over it. It's better to hit it 1,000 times too light than to hit it 1 time too hard. So if you've got to go around it 2 or 3 times, that's fine. But all we're trying to do is bruise this bark, and like I say, when the sap starts to come up, and here in Ohio, southeastern Ohio, the sap is starting to rise and the blooms are coming out and everything, so the Paw Paw is right now ready to start making whistles. Once you bruise this up real good like this, then all you have to do is get a hold of it and squeeze it, and if you do it right, you can hear a crack. And it's not ready to come off yet. So back to smacking. Let me see if I can't find something here. There we go. Yeah, that's kind of burnt, but let's see. Yeah. Sometimes you got to hit it quite hard. But like I say, you don't want to hit it too hard, because if you tear that bark, it's game over. You got to start all over. Now, in about another month, the sap will be running so much that this won't require this kind of pounding. So right now you got to really get on it and hit it hard to bruise that bark and loosen it up. Now let's see if we can hear that crack. There, it just cracked. What that crack is, and as it turns out, it cracked loose right here. Split that bark. That's no good. Generally, you would start over. But I believe, and just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to go ahead and carry on with it. Part of the problem was I made this a double, and this right here was all I had to grab. But we'll go ahead and slide this right on off. As you can see, this bark will slide right on off. And what you end up with is a hollow tube with your notch. As you can see, that bark broke right there. That may run it, but we're going to carry on. Now you can see there's a little knot right here that I have to shave off. One right there. But here's your mark. This is the mark that we left through here. So now, put this in my pocket so it's safe. And I want to trim that little knot off right there. Okay, that's good. Now what we want to do is we want to cut straight down. We want to cut straight down from this back edge of this, oops, right there. We want to cut straight down right here. So let me do that. And basically, Paw Paw is real soft, so it should be relatively easy just to rock your knife. Generally what I like doing is cutting down a little ways, and then I want to take a push cut and start trimming this out right here. What we're going to do is make a ramp for the air. What you don't want to do is slip and slice all that off, because it's game over. We do have to cut that right there, but not right now. So generally, before I get too deep with that straight cut, I take and start whittling this back. And a good push cut with your knife will really work. And then you go through here and cut back down in some more, and then take all this up and pull that off. Like I say, since we broke that bark, I don't know if this is going to work, but it's the same way I made the other end. This is actually kind of big, this wood, so the knots on them will actually be bigger than what a smaller piece would be. But you want to keep going down. Now the deeper and longer you make this notch, the difference in the pitch will be. So what I like to do is just go down past the heart just a little bit. And like right there's the heart. I don't know if you can pick that up. You can see it there. I like going past that heart a little bit. And cutting it out like that. Okay, now comes the hard part. What we're wanting to do, and I'll see if I can't turn this around to show you. We got to create an air pocket right here, which is that little hole right there. So basically what you do is you come down here a little bit and you try and cut that straight off. Now I'm cutting back towards me because I'm wanting you guys to see what I'm doing. This is not it's kind of controlled, but and you want this to be, where's that? You want this right here to be flat with this part right here. So if it's off a little, it won't matter too much if it's off a little, but you trim this back And you don't want a great big hole, but you got to have a hole for air to go through. Something like that. So now you got a little flat spot there. Now what I like to do is, you can see there's some points right here. That point will cut your bark. So what I do is kind of round them off just a little bit. Like that. Now you have to do is put it in your mouth. Get some saliva on it. And Paw Paw is not poisonous, so you're not gonna get sick from it. It actually has got a pretty good taste. Get your bark back out. Slide your bark back on carefully, and then you want to adjust it. You want to adjust it around. Let's see, it's got to go that way. Twist it around to where you're back up flush right here. And now I went too far, so go back just a little bit. Right there. Now, being that bark is ripped right there, I don't know if it's going to work, but let's try it. Guess it works. As you can tell, that worked pretty good. Sorry, I might have to put a little annotation to say turn down sound now, but these things are loud enough, they'll make your ears ring. That's how you make a Paw Paw whistle. Let me give you a little close up. There's that. And then when you slide the bark off, you want to carve out that right there. Don't forget the little flat spot right there for air to go through. And then lick it. Put her back on. Slide it back on there. Adjust it to where it's right. And there's you a whistle. Hope you enjoyed this. Until next time, this is Hillbillies in the Bush. Thanks for watching, and we'll see y'all later.